Hello, hello, and welcome back to the podcast, you sexy animals. Joining me today is an actual bona fide living rock legend. I'm joined today by the awesome, ass-kicking, face-melting Jackie Jax Chambers from the longest-standing all-female rock band in history, the iconic, the game-changing, the trailblazing Girlschool. Jackie, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good, James. Thank you.
Great to hear it, man, because we're going through some strange times at the moment, so I'm glad to know that you're well. And how were you during the pandemic is something that I want to ask, because as a fellow musician, with somebody who most of my friends are, musicians, we've all had a slightly different experience. So I'd be interested to know what someone in your position was like in the pandemic.
Well, yeah, slight understatement about everything that's going on at the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
It's great for us. It is great for us songwriters, though, because it gives us lots of things to write about. Let's say.
Yes.
But the pandemic, it was an unusual one for me, because I think, like most people, the very beginning of it was like, oh, lovely, a little break, time to do some other things like gardening, things like that. It's like the garden looks like a jungle out there, so it's like the neighbours were taking bets on when the weeds were going to reach the line. So I think it was the first 3 months I was really getting into doing all the gardening and things like that. But I think it kind of separated two categories of people. I think some people let it get them down and they just literally watched the news all day, every day, and they were, rather than just being informed, they were really inundated.
Yes.
And I think that made some people a little depressed, whereas I just tended to get the headlines and then turn it off. I didn't want to be bombarded with all this fear-mongering and all this horrible stuff going on with the media. It was just overkill, wasn't it? And I like to meditate, so it's like I was just looking after my physical and mental health. And I think the whole pandemic for me, I was just spending more time in meditation, looking after my mental health, because I could see how it is affecting a lot of other people.
That's super interesting. So what type of meditation do you do?
I do a meditation called Raj Yoga, which is meditation in the mind. It's not like physically sitting in postures and things like that. I practice with the Brahma Kumaris, which is Indian-based, where a lot of sites around the world. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful way to meditate.
And what's that involved? So is it like mantra orientated, or is it breath, or is it neither?
No, none of those. It's just literally controlling your mind. It's sitting there. You don't have to sit in a posture. You can do it while you're standing up or with your eyes open mainly. It's just controlling those thoughts in your mind and making sure they're positive thoughts for yourself, in a sense like a mantra, I suppose, but not actually mantras as such. It's just wonderful. If anybody checks that out, it's just so good for you. If you can keep your mind right, then everything else falls into place. You won't be as ill, or you won't be as affected by all this nonsense that's going on right now. You can take it, do you know what I mean? It kind of leaves you a little bit stronger, being positive rather than all this scaremongering all the time.
100%, man. I did some training in transcendental meditation, which is
nice.
a mantra-based one. You do it for like 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. And for the time that I was doing it, which was about a few months, I can honestly say it was some of the best times of my life. I was sleeping way better. I have a calmness of mind, but I just found it so difficult to maintain in the kind of the chaos and pace of daily life, And then once I fell out of the habit, I just found it impossible to go back to.
That's true. It's one of those nice habits to have, isn't it? Meditation. I actually get up every morning at 4:00 and meditate, because it's the quietest time of the day. It's just so peaceful, and it's just so easy to do at that time of day. When the business of the day kicks in, it's just a lot harder to do. So at 4:00, it's just wonderful. And because I do that every day, apart from when I'm on tour, of course, because sometimes we're not getting to bed till 4:00, so it's like you can't do it then. But it's one of the things I make sure I do for myself every single day. Do some meditation, and that's set for the day then.
And what time do you go to bed then?
Oh, quite early when I'm not on tour, about 9:00.
Okay.
About 9:00, get into bed about 9:00, and then get up at 4.
Right, because I'm always interested in that, because I know a lot of people have recommended getting up at like 4:00 and having that kind of time before the world wakes up that's just yours.
Oh, it's so much better. It really makes a difference. I mean, I've tried when I'm on tour and we get up about, I don't know, say 7 or 8 or something, and we've been to bed late, then it's just not the same, because everything's going on. You can hear things going on the streets. Although you can you can sort of block it out sometimes when you get used to meditation, but it's not the same. That peaceful time, it just feels clean. If that makes any sense. It feels clean and pure, the air, everything.
Yeah, I love it at that time. But again, it's one of those things that I kind of know is the right thing to do, but I just don't have the discipline to be able to do it yet, you know?
I just kind of made myself do it now. And it's good. I'm glad I do.
How long have you been doing it for then?
About 6 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's definitely works. It definitely works. It makes your whole life better. Everything in your life changes when you do it. Because your brain's the most important thing, isn't it? Your mind, if you can control that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you today. I mean, like, I'm sure you've been doing loads of these, like promoting the things you got coming up with a band and stuff, and we'll get to that. But I want to sort of like ask you some stuff that you probably don't get asked that often, because I know that can get quite tedious. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is, for someone that's sort of been in the game so long, like you have, how do you find the sort of maintaining that balance? I mean, I'm guessing that meditation and yoga and these things probably play a big part in that. But how have you managed to avoid the kind of burnout and keep yourself kind of stable, you know, in an industry where so many people aren't able to do that?
I think being in the music industry, if you don't enjoy it, if you're just doing it for money, you know, that is just the wrong way to do things. If you're doing it because you enjoy it, because you still like playing live, you still like writing music, then you won't burn out. I've seen many people go on the stage and they just look like they're going through the motions, and you can tell they're miserable up there. You can tell they just want to go home. You can tell. So I think if you're enjoying it yourself, and you know you're entertaining your crowd, then you know you'll get that feedback from them as well, and it helps you more to enjoy the gig even more after that. But if you don't enjoy it, just forget it. Because there's no money in it anyway. So anybody who wants to do it for money, anybody who's doing it for money, stop now. It's a waste of time. I'll save you the trouble.
You're in the wrong industry, yeah. You're totally right. I totally relate to that. As somebody that's done it the other way, I wrote a book about my failed 10 years of being an original band, touring in the back of a van and stuff like that. And despite the fact that we had some kind of, you know, minor local success on the alternative scene, you know, 3 albums and touring Europe and stuff,
very nice.
I was way too focused on the business side of things. As an independent band, you know, you're kind of doing everything. You have to be a treasurer and a marketeer and a graphic designer. And I think focusing on all of that stuff made me way too focused on
business.
Yeah, like, was this tour worth it? Did we break even? No, we made a loss, you know, and all that sort of shit. And yeah, I mean, like, we'd be playing some awesome gigs in Europe and, you know, on the beaches of Italy in the sunshine. And I hated every second of it because I was just so depressed and ground down by juggling so many different hats, you know. And I think it was only a few years later in hindsight when I came to the realization that you've just said now, that, like, actually I could have just enjoyed the ride and just enjoyed kicking ass with my friends, you know. Yeah,
I've given up on the masses of money. The house in the country and all the money, because it's just not going to work. I mean, if you're doing, literally, you're not going to make money these days with downloads. I mean, back in the day, you could sell CDs and you get a percentage of that. Now it's like, what is it, 0.000% for a single download or something like that, between 4. You're not getting rich quick, are you? I think you have to sell something like, to sell 20,000 downloads is like equivalent of one T-shirt at a gig or something. I seem to remember reading recently, which is about right. I think you have to know a little bit of the business side. I think it helps because a lot of the bands from Girlschool era were completely ripped off by the record label signings and the contracts that people signed. So, I mean, Girlschool to this day don't own a lot of their back catalogue.
Right.
So it's like, you know, you've got to know a little bit of business, be a bit savvy, but enjoy the ride. Don't get bogged down in all this stats and all the, you know, all that legal stuff.
Yeah, I think that's very wise advice, especially because it is. I mean, would you say it's harder now than it was back in the day in the 80s and 90s?
I think a bit of both, because it's harder to get known, but easier because there's YouTube and things. So it's accessible to more people, I think. You don't have to have a major record company behind you and millions of pounds to promote you. Anybody can do it. So in some ways, it's easier. If you've got a gimmick or something very, very original, then you're more likely to get noticed. But then again, it's harder because there's so many people can do it. You're competing with millions more now than you were before.
Yes.
So it can have its advantages and disadvantages, can't it, really, the internet?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the tools are there. So, like, I think back in the day, if you couldn't get a record deal, it was over. That was like the death blow. But these days, yeah, you could still make your record and put it out. But then whether you can get anyone to hear it is the major hurdle, I think, now.
Well, that's where the business side comes into it. If you do have a little bit of savvy, then, you can get that together, really, can't you? If you know what you're doing. Whereas somebody at my age, I ain't got a clue how to use social media. It's like, okay, that's an emoji, right? I've got that. It's just like, this is just like, I don't really want to learn this. I'm too old to learn this.
No, you're not missing anything.
No, I know. You can spend so much of your day. I mean, I generally, when I've done all my meditation and things and breakfast, it's like I'm on social media for about an hour, just answering mail and things like that. And it can take up quite a lot of your day, whereas you just want to be songwriting sometimes, you know what I mean?
Oh, completely, 100%, yeah.
So any advice I give to anybody out there is get yourself a nice manager who can do it all for you.
Hang on a second, a nice manager, do they exist?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We've got a nice manager with Syteria and Girlschool. I'm very lucky, but they don't do any of that. So you need, let's say, a PA then, a PA rather than a manager. Somebody who knows all this stuff.
Oh, God, yeah, because...
a young person.
Yes. I threw myself into the social media stuff because, we got kind of ripped off by everybody. We had to sue a label to get our money back and got into jail for shooting somebody. Same old. Yeah. And so I was like, right, social media, that's the thing. We can have a direct connection to the audience. We can build our audience and spread the word. And there was a kind of like a golden period where like that kind of worked. But I think nowadays, the tech companies being what they are, they're changing things constantly with the algorithms. And you could literally spend your life trying to please an algorithm for a tech company when, exactly like you said, we should be writing songs and playing our guitars,
Yeah, we can get bogged down in all the wrong things, and that's when the enjoyment goes out of it.
Completely. And do you think for a band in that situation, like a young band or whatever, that's trying to navigate the current model, do you think that live music is still the ultimate way to get yourself out there, or do you think it's changed?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you can do a lot of gigs, then yeah, but right now we're kind of stuck out with it. We can't get out of, well, it's opening up now, but we couldn't get out of the country. So if you're a new band, you're basically saying, all I'm playing to is people in Britain or wherever you're based. And it's mostly local. So I think you still need to build up a fan base from the bottom end, as it were, from the ground, and start playing a lot. Because people do now at least film you and put you on YouTube. A lot of times that's kind of detrimental as well because it's so rubbish, there's recordings sometimes on a phone or whatever. It sounds horrible. But at least it's getting you out there. So I think, you need to do the groundwork and live. And you polish yourself as a band, don't you? You learn so much when you're playing live about each other and what people like in songs. And you just learn when you're playing with other people and other musicians. So I think gigs is a big part of it, definitely.
I think so, yeah, for real. And what is the current model with Girlschool then? Because obviously, you've got a massive legacy. You mentioned earlier that some of it obviously is not owned by the band or anything anymore. But has the model, as things have changed over the years, have you guys embraced different models for putting stuff out and making your records, or have you stuck to what's worked in the past?
We are just Girlschool. We don't listen to anything. Even if we tried to sound like something, we wouldn't be, because when we get our amps, we plug our guitars and we don't use effects, just go straight in, and this is how we sound. We've never really tried to follow a trend. We've never tried to, well, not since I've been in the band, definitely. We've not tried to follow a trend, but it just comes out as we are. And I think if you're true to yourself and you play, that's the real you, then it comes out like that. And I think that's a much better record in the end, whether it's dated or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's you and it's real. And I think people appreciate that more than trying to jump on the latest trend on bandwagon.
Well, it's working for you.
Because it's obvious when you try and do that.
It's working for you guys. I mean, that's why you're here,
Thank you.
40 years now in the game as a band?
44 this year. So next year will be our 45th anniversary.
That's amazing. I mean, there aren't many bands that can say that.
I know, it's mental. No, and never split up. There's been a few different members, but never split up.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, Kim and Denise are the only originals left now. I mean, Kelly obviously died, the lead guitarist from the original. So I'm still the new girl, and I've been in 23 years.
Like Jason Newsted in Metallica, wouldn't it? You know, he'd been in the band for decades, and he's always the new guy. You know,
Phil Campbell in Motorhead, 27, whatever it was years. He's still the new boy.
Hilarious.
We used to joke about that quite a bit, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of, we're always going to sound like Girlschool. We're never going to try and do anything different because we just know that's the fan base as it is. That's what they want to hear. They just want to hear rock and roll songs, nice, simple, no proggy stuff, no new technology, no keyboards, whatever. Just straight through the amps and straight out there, just rock and roll songs.
Amen. I know everyone listening is going to be glad to hear that because the second Girlschool start using keyboards and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Might get the occasional harmony in here and there because I get them in now and then. But that's, we're just literally going to record as we are. That's it. This is who we are. This is Girlschool. Like it or not. Like it or lump it, basically. If you like us, you'll buy it. If you don't, you won't.
Yeah, long may you continue, man. Long may you reign and thrive because,
new album coming out. Well, next, I say new album coming out, like I've written it. It's not been written yet at all.
Right.
We've got ideas. And it's like we're recording in August. I've already booked the studio. We're recording in August, and I think we've got 2 songs so far.
Okay.
So we've got some work to do. I wrote it this morning. We got the ideas. It's just trying to get together. It's just hard these days getting together. So we all live all over the country.
Right. And what's your process then?
Well, for the past 23 years, what I've done, because I'm the only one with a sort of like home studio, I said studio Logic Audio on my laptop, basically. It's just, it's like in your bedroom. Just put the drums on, just get a thing going, and I write the music generally. Then I'll send it to Kim. Past it was Enid as well, so I sent it to them to put lyrics, and that's it. We just get together, and that'd work like that. It just worked. Now, I'm just writing loads of music. I'll send it to Kim and she'll say, I like that riff. I don't like that riff. And we sometimes put them together, It just works out like that.
Coming back to the technology thing, how things are different now. Isn't that so awesome that you can do that on a laptop,
I can, yeah. But the funny thing is with Kim, because Kim's, I'm the most tech in this band, and I am really not tech. So it's like I get Kim on the phone sometimes, and she's singing to me down the phone, and we're recording on a dictaphone. That's how old-fashioned we are. I walked around on a tour last year with a dictaphone, taking up ideas. Like Kim would come up with something, I'd quickly record it on a dictaphone, and then I'd take it home and just play about with it. So we're not tech at all, but it works for us.
You heard it here first, folks. The mighty Girlschool use dictaphones.
Well, only me. I don't think they can even do that
much. Well, it's very similar. Everyone out that I know, and certainly the way that I do it as well, is I use the voice notes on my phone, which is the same thing essentially. It's just a dictaphone. It sounds like crap a lot of the time, but when I'm driving in the car and like a riff comes to my head or a melody, I'll leave a little voice note to myself with the windscreen wipers in the background, and I've got like hundreds of these things, and I just go through and like pick out the good bits, after a few months of forgetting what's there, and it's like, my God, what the fuck was I thinking?
I know, what was I thinking? Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah. It's all like middle of the night, and you're sort of half asleep, and you're singing into this silly phone.
Yes.
We've only just I've literally bought a smartphone like in December last year.
What?
That's the first. I was literally using me and Kim were using bricks, we called them, like, the mobile phone, the Nokias, the old Nokias.
Oh, shit.
We were using them, so no camera, no nothing on it, just a phone, so people could get in touch with us. So I bought a smartphone in December, mainly because I couldn't even pay to park the car anymore without a phone, because it's all one of those digital things. So I only bought it for that reason. But now I know it's got like you say, a voice recorder on that. It saves me taking dictaphone out as well now. So I've gone really up in the world. I've got a smartphone and I can record on it.
Oh my God, I'm so envious. As someone that spends their life on my phone, doing social media and my voice notes and my fucking this, that, and the other, and just answering messages. To think that you've lasted, this much of your life, and you've only just got a smartphone, I am so jealous.
Yeah. Well, it means I don't have to be with it all the time, or it wasn't, because like I do the social media on my laptop. And then I'd go out for a walk or whatever in nature just to get away from technology. And I just had my brick with me in case of accidents, that sort of thing, or I needed to call someone. So that's what it was. It was a phone. for being a phone. But now you need it to pay this, you need it to that, you need it for passports, you need it for everything. So I had to get one. I had no choice. So we've come into the 21st century, as it were now. We've caught up slightly.
Somewhat reluctantly, yeah.
Very reluctantly, I'd say, yes.
Well, make us all a promise that you're not going to install Facebook or Instagram or anything like that on your phone, because otherwise that next Girlschool album is not going to happen if you do that.
Well, it is on there, but I do literally turn off my Wi-Fi, my data, as it were, and so I won't be tempted unless I need to. It's like one of those essential things. I don't want to be part of the zombie nation, as I call it. Swipe, swipe, swipe.
Oh yeah, and it's very addictive. It's easy to get into that, man.
Yeah, I mean, even now when I'm in the van with Syteria, we've just been and done a couple of gigs, and it's like, I find myself getting involved with the social media when I'm in the van traveling. So I'm trying to cut down on that, just so I don't do it all the time like everybody else. When I see everybody else doing it, I think, nope, not doing it.
No,
it just looks like they look like zombies. They're walking around the streets and people are banging into things, and you're thinking, look up, people. There's a whole world out here. For now.
I am that guy. I totally agree with you, but I'm still that guy because it's just so addictive and you get into the habit of it, So the fact, like I said, I think because you're coming at it at this point now, like quite a late bloomer as such, hopefully you'll be able to resist the... Well,
the good thing is it's got meditation commentaries on there as well. So if I'm in the van and I'm like, a long journey, I can put those on to really chill out. So that's kind of nice as well.
Yeah, there are some handy things. I suppose it's like you mentioned earlier, about the industry in general these days. With the technology thing, there's good things and bad things about it. It's great for songwriting because you can, have a little mini studio in your pocket at all times. It is great, to stay in touch with your fans and social media and things like that. But as long as you can control it and not let it control you, which is difficult to do.
Well, the one good thing about it is it's so small, I can't be bothered. I'll wait until I get onto the computer. I can see that without my glasses. So that cuts me down a little bit on social media when I'm in the van.
You sound incredibly centered for someone that's been in rock and roll for as long as you have, or are you centered because you've been in rock and roll for this long?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Come out the other end. I've done all the hard drinking and stuff, but I've come out the other end. Luckily, still here. I've seen a lot of people go.
Are those days over, or?
Yeah, I actually quit drinking about 6 years ago.
Right.
6 years ago now, so quit drinking. So too much, just too much. Party animal.
And you're vegan as well, right?
I am vegan now. You see, I've got really sensible.
Yeah.
If my 30-year-old Jackie would have said to me when I'm this age, I would be vegan, teetotal, and meditating, I would have just laughed in her face. But here I am.
Yeah, well, good for you, man. I gave up drinking for 3.5 years. I got back on it October last year.
What happened?
Well, I had some family stuff that was, it wasn't just that really. It was, stress was my thing. Because, I was pretty much, I'm sure you can relate, drinking every night for about 10 years, when I was doing the band thing properly. Not an alcoholic or not drinking in the daytime, but every night after gigs. And it becomes
that's how it happens,
It becomes, it's the lifestyle, isn't it? And after a while, I just got so fed up.
You should get back into meditation.
Yeah, well, I think it's...
Get back into your meditation instead of the booze. That'll do you more good.
Well, you seem as if you've got the whole package working for you there. You're eating right, you're exercising, you're not drinking, you're meditating.
It makes you so much happier when you do that. I don't think I've been this happy in my life.
Really?
Yeah, everything just seems, even though there's all this going on around me, I feel really content, really happy. I think that's the meditation more than anything. And eating well, your body's in good shape, A few grumbles because I'm getting old, because we're all wearing out. But yeah, all good.
Well, that's the best thing to hear from anybody, isn't it? That you've never felt better. So if ever there was an advert for that type of lifestyle, and having Jax from fucking Girlschool, you've been there and seen the other side. So if you're saying that, then people should listen.
Yeah. You got to do. I suppose most people have to do it. They feel like it's a rite of passage almost in bands, isn't it? You end up doing all the drugs and everything in the past. You just have to sort of try it. But if you can bypass that, just do it.
Well, you're making me think now.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to go through it and you'll end up coming out the other end anyway. Either that or you don't, which has happened in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of people go, and a lot of people, ruin their lives because of it all. So
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
they're not here anymore. So they're not here, sadly. So
No, a lot of talent as well. A lot of unwritten
a
classic
lot of
songs,
talent.
and
A lot of talent, yeah. And depression has got a few people as well. So again, meditation for depression, one of the best things you can do.
What was
Stop drinking if you're depressed as well.
So yeah, well, you're totally right. I mean, like when I didn't drink for like 3.5 years, like I said, and I got to be honest, I felt great. I didn't miss it at all. Like socially, I've never needed it for that really. My moods were a lot more stable. My emotions were stable. I was getting twice as much done with my day because I wasn't hungover. And I didn't have a problem with it at all. The only thing that got me was stress. And like you say, if I was meditating, it probably wouldn't have got me. In the end, it was like, I just need release a little bit of that steam at the end of the weekend. You know what I mean? And that kind of was the hook that drew me back in. And now I'm back on the Jack Daniels,
That was my failing. I know when I actually quit, I think it was in 2015, we were just about to go on tour with Motorhead. I thought that was probably the worst timing ever.
Oh, shit.
I thought, well, if I can get through a Motorhead tour without drinking Jack Daniels, because it's just practically thrown at you, then I'll be all right. So that was the hurdle, as it were. But once I got over that hurdle, it was easy after that. I didn't miss it at all now. Don't miss it even slightly now.
I can imagine if you can pass the touring with Motorhead test, it's, sobriety test, then I think you're on the home stretch.
That was a tough one, but once you passed that was it. Yeah, I did. I came out. I thought, yes, I can do it.
Fucking hell, that's amazing! And 6 years later, you're still there.
Yeah. I don't even want to drink. I really don't fancy it at all.
I felt like that. I really feel like I could go back, and I feel like I will go back. At the moment, I got something going on, in my life, like I say, with my family and stuff like that, it's kind of a little crutch as such, that's just giving me a little bit of a little pillow to get my head on at the end of the night sort of thing. But I really enjoyed it. But I feel like my failing was that I wasn't doing some of the other stuff that you're talking about. And just hearing you talk about it, like the meditation and eating well and exercising, really makes me want to do it. Nature as well, yeah.
It's funny because when you don't drink, it's funny watching other people who do. You can really see, you think, oh my God, I was like this.
Yes.
People watching, you think, oh, you turn into a real idiot when you're drinking.
Oh, yeah. You think, you're the worst advert for drinking because I don't want to be like that.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, yep. So glad I quit.
Are the other girls in the band the same?
Well, actually, none of us really partied that hard when we're on tour now. I mean, we're at that age now where partying the hangovers were horrible. And when you're traveling, you know what it's like when you're traveling and you've got a hangover, it's hell.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're in your 50s, when you're in your teens, it's easy. You get a hangover, you get up at 9 o'clock and you're back on it. Quick sandwich and you're away, aren't you? A bit of carbs, a bit of stodge, as we used to call it. And when back up you get. But when you're in your 20s, it gets a little easier. When it's 30s, it gets a little harder. 40s, a little harder still. 50s, it's almost like, oh, God, give me a day to recover.
I feel like that now.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you need a whole day just to get recovery. So, yeah, it wasn't worth it. And traveling, when you're traveling like that on flights and vans, it's just horrible. The day is just wasted because you're just literally trying to find ways to get comfortable in your head.
Oh, there's no point. Yeah, I just hearing you talk then, it just reminds me of those days. Jesus Christ. I mean, we never got to the point where we had like a tour bus or a crew or anything like that. So we would do it in a transit van, sleeping in the van as well. Because I was short, man. I would sleep in the front, and we used to our trick basically, because we couldn't afford hotels, was to we would drive away from the gig the night of the gig so that we could get out with the city traffic for the morning, and then we would park up in like a service station kind of halfway to the next gig or something, and just sleep in the van, and then in the morning we'd have coffee and stuff. Because I was the shortest and I used to sleep in the front because obviously we had the gear in the back stick. As well. Yeah, I had the gear stick, and to stop the my curtains were basically like I would gaffer tape like towels and t-shirts to the window.
Oh no! Oh, it sounds horrendous.
Brutal.
We've all done that sort of thing, though, haven't we? Let's face it. In the past, it is hard, though, isn't it? I think the glamour of rock and roll, eh?
Well, you guys kind of, I'm sure you guys had your time doing that as well in the day, but then luckily you kind of, and through hard work and perseverance and being awesome, you kind of managed to elevate beyond that point.
Well, it's funny, our rider now, it's not like, when people say they have awkward riders, like, your usual no blue and M&Ms and all that stuff. Our rider is really simple. We need a bedroom each, a hotel room each, just so we have a little bit of time on our own. That's it. That's our luxury. We don't want anything else. Just make sure we have a hotel room where we can go away at the end of the night and just get some time on our own.
That sounds like heaven.
Not that we hate each other or anything. It's just a good thing to do when you're on tour, because you're in it's like you're in a van 24, well, quite a lot of hours, let's say, and then you're in a dressing room together. Then if you're sharing rooms as well, you're talking 24/7, so you can't get away. So if you have that hotel room on your own, then it's just that little few hours in it of just peace for yourself.
Oh, it sounds like bliss. Sounds like bliss.
So now we're doing that, yeah. I mean, we didn't when I first joined the band, we were sharing, but yeah, when you sleep with somebody who snores.
Oh, God, yeah, I had some of them. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, I won't say who, but yeah.
Oh, come on. You've got to give us an exclusive. Who's the snorer in the band?
I won't say who, but she's the loud one on drums.
Oh, right, okay. We'll put that out there and see if people can guess who it is. Put it in the comments.
She'll kill me. I think everybody knows. Actually, everybody knows anyway, because we had a snoring on the album when we did, which one was it? Was it Legacy? I forgot now. No, I forgot. There was some snoring on beginning of one of our albums.
Oh,
and that's a certain drummer in the band.
It's the worst when you get a snore. It's funny enough, it was the drummer in our band as well.
Always the drummer, isn't it? Always the drummer. The trouble.
What is that? I mean, we all love drummers. You know, they are the life and soul of the band. You know, they're very much. I've always found that they're very much the same in their personality. I don't know if there's something about that draws them to hitting things with sticks. But my God, you know, we all love drummers, but my God, you know, they can be a handful. You know.
Yep, and they snore loud.
And they snore loud.
Yeah, I used to blame her. I said, after I drink a bottle of Jack Daniels, just get to sleep before you do.
Yeah. But then again, we're two guitar players talking here, so we're bound to pick on the poor drummers. And I'm sure if you get a couple of drummers together talking about lead guitar players, they'd be like, "Oh my God, those pretentious pricks." Yeah.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah. Constantly turning up. Am I loud enough? Am I loud enough? More me.
Sounds about right.
So the new album then is going to be not with us, you know, this year, I'm guessing. But
we're recording it in August. We probably will release it next year because it's our 45th, so it would make sense to do it for 45th anniversary. So that's what we're telling the record company. Oh, yeah, let's do it next year. Gives us a bit more time.
Yeah.
So 45th anniversary. It's quite a while since we released our last one. We didn't realise how long it was, but because obviously with COVID and everything, the years have just added up, haven't they?
When was the last one? Was it 2015?
Yeah. So, yeah, we're talking quite a while now. It'll be 8 years when we've done it. It's quite a big gap between albums. But
like I said, the way you guys do it, though, I mean, you know, you've got nothing to prove at this point. The legacy's there, the audience is there. And like you said, you know, like you make a record, the way you make it, when you make it, your way, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we don't want to force anything. We just do it as we go along.
And what's happening on the live front then? So the Alcatraz tour is now February, yeah? We've got one this year as well. We're sort of in Europe this year with Alcatraz again. We did one last year with Alcatraz as well. It's kind of working. We've done quite a bit considering lockdown. We were actually playing when lockdown happened in 2020. We were doing our own tour in Britain. Right. So we were lucky that year to have done a dozen gigs or something before COVID actually hit. And then we had the lockdown time. Then as soon as it was over, we were back out again, playing in Britain predominantly because obviously getting abroad was really troublesome. You couldn't really book anything because you never knew if you're going to get cancelled. So, so now we've got a festival in April in Germany. Then we're going to Prague in May. We did have Russia in May, but I'm guessing that's cancelled. Might be tricky at this point in time. Yeah,
I don't think we do it. Well, I won't want to do it anyway under protest, but yeah. Right. Then we've got quite a few things coming up abroad. So lots of festivals, Sweden, and that European tour then with Alcatraz. So mostly festivals, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. I bet like after the 2 years that we've had, I bet you can't wait to get out there and do it properly again.
Can't wait. And we just did two this year, last month, I think it was. We did with Saxon because they've been postponed since 2019. So people actually had tickets from 2019 still. And we used them February this year, or was it January this year, I think it was. We did two, Manchester and London Apollo. Hammersmith Apollo with Saxon. There were Diamond Head, Girlschool, Uriah Heep and Saxon on the same bill.
That's a good bloody bill, man.
Yeah, so 2 nights. It was just brilliant. Really, really good. Because it's their 45th anniversary, I think.
That's amazing. So you got a lot to look forward to in the summer as well, man. Finally, we get a little bit of sunshine. You get back out there and do what you guys do best.
Oh, yeah, we need that sunshine.
Oh, tell me about it.
We've got some here right now, but it's not warm enough to go out. It's definitely not warm enough to start gardening yet.
The garden is still an ongoing project then.
Yeah. Still a jungle for now. I'll wait until the neighbours start.
And what's happening with Syteria, your other project?
Well, yeah, I just done 2 gigs this weekend with them, actually. We're doing a single. We're doing it differently this year. We're going to do an album at the end of the year, but we're sort of taking our time. We're going to do a single in April, a single in June, sort of releasing, drip feeding, as it were, during the year, then put together a whole album. Trying to time it so it's not the same time as Girlschool or anything like that. Got to fix things around. And we fix gigs around Girlschool all the time. It's just worked.
Right.
I've done gigs on the same bill, funnily enough. We've had a few festivals, 3 or 4 festivals, where I've played with Syteria, gone off and had something to eat, maybe got changed and come back on with Girlschool.
Wow, that's hardcore, man.
Oh, I love it. More like that. I'd love it.
And where's the name come from? It's an interesting name.
Well, again, it's. I was reading a book on a meditation, and it just came up, that word. Because it's like when you're finding a band name, we must have written down, 50 names. And every time we found one we liked, the 4 of us, we looked it up and it was some death metal band in Norway or something,
Yes, it's always a death metal band.
Oh, yeah, just something. So every band name, it's like, okay, we're going to have to make something up. So when I was reading this meditation book and this word Syteria came up, it's like, I think it was a flower, but spelled S-I-T. I've never found it since, funny enough, but that particular day, the universe was telling me something.
Yeah.
So I thought, for rock, let's make the I a Y, just because it's more interesting. And it means nobody else will have it then. If there's another death metal band somewhere, that nobody will have it. So we changed the I to a Y, and we just call ourselves Syteria. The problem with that, though, is people keep going Systeria or hysteria, and sounds like a terrible disease at times. But hey, we got there in the end.
It's a really cool name, and it looks cool and sounds cool, and it's very. I can relate as well from my own experience. My band was called Kaishira with a Y.
With a Y.
For very much the same reasons, because my surname being Kennedy, when I released my first album, I didn't have a band, so I called it Kennedy. And Nigel Kennedy's management...
Oh, Nigel Kennedy, yeah.
They contacted me and said, look, he calls himself Kennedy, so you're going to have to change your name or we'll sue you. So I thought, well, if I make up a name that doesn't exist anywhere, then I won't have that problem in the future. So, and exactly what you said, I wrote down pages of stuff that I thought looked cool, and it was always taken by some, Korean company or something like that. And so I came on Kaishira, changed the I to a Y, exactly like you're describing, and I kind of got lucky. But then our thing was that people would always be like, Shakira, like, no, Kaishira. Shakira.
So exactly the same thing. Then in the Systeria we're getting all the time, because originally we were 4 girls, so we'll call it, think it was sister, like Systeria.
Right.
So yeah, we got that, and then of course with the Def Leppard Hysteria, it was getting mixed up all the time with things like that.
Right, it's going to happen, I guess. I mean, like some of those death metal bands from Norway, that you can't even fucking read their names. It's ridiculous.
I can't read half of them. We did a cruise once, one of those, rock cruises. And I looked at the lineup and I don't know anybody on there because I can't read any of them. It
looks like a bush.
Yeah. I was like, what's the point of having a T-shirt with your logo on if nobody can read it?
It looks like a collection of twigs.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it looks like, a tree. It does look like trees, doesn't it? Like some kind of gothic tree.
Yeah. Like, I think like the more illegible your logo, the heavier the band. I think that's the rule, I think.
I think it must be.
I was going to ask you how you managed to juggle both those bands then, because I mean, I'm imagining Girlschool is pretty much a full-time project at this point.
Yeah. Well, I started Syteria because Girlschool weren't doing as much as I wanted to do, because obviously having been together at that point, like nearly 40 years at that point, it was like people were just like wanting to do festivals and just do less touring because, we've all got home lives and things like that. So I put together Syteria just to fill in the gaps, because I absolutely love being out on the road, being on tour and writing and things. That's my, what I love doing. So I put Syteria together, and then of course we got really busy with Motorhead tour, and then this tour, and then that tour. Because we were all over the place. So it never really got started until 2016. But yeah, I've just managed to fit it around. It's because obviously I were booking the gigs to start with. We've got a manager now doing that for us. But yeah, it just works. We just make it work. The two managers talk to each other. Every now and then things clash. But in the past 5-6 years, we've managed to work it out so that it doesn't.
That's awesome. And outside of those two bands, then you're literally a free agent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do a little bit of gardening.
You are officially living the dream.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've been, I say studio, my bedroom, with the Logic Audio this morning, sort of trying to write. So for both bands, it's like I tend to write a song, and then just at the end of it, I think, oh, that's too poppy for Girlschool, or that's too heavy for Syteria. Because obviously when I started Syteria, I didn't want it to be the same as Girlschool. It's still going to be me doing, what I'm doing, but it's like I didn't want it to be the same. There's no point, is there?
No, yeah. Yeah, it's good to have like an outlet for the other stuff that doesn't fit with the one thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously I like harmonies. I'm from the old from the old punk culture.
Yes.
So, I was like punk rocker in my old days. So it's like, I like that energy of punk, although Girlschool has punk as well.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the lyrics, because Kim generally writes her own lyrics, although I do write some with Girlschool. So it's nice to be able to have that outlet as well, having some lyrics out there.
Yeah, I always thought you guys had a kind of punky edge.
Yeah, well, Girlschool do, yeah. I mean, we get described sometimes when we go on tour. It says Girlschool, and in brackets, UK punk.
Right.
Which is, same for Motorhead, they always got described as punk in certain countries. Germany, a lot of times, is described as punk. I
was going to say, yeah, because, you guys, I guess, traditionally would be classed as, new wave of British heavy metal, but yeah. I always thought Motorhead had not just musically, but the attitude and the ethos and everything. I thought had a lot more in common with punk rock than metal.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like you just get put in a genre, no matter what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times when I started Syteria, we got put in the metal bracket just because I'm in Girlschool. I'm thinking we're not metal. We're really not metal. I mean, Girlschool aren't metal; they're rock. But they're not metal.
No,
there's so many different genres of metal now, isn't there? I mean,
have you still got a bit of punk rock in you, do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, read some of my lyrics sometimes, it's like, oh, that's a little bit, it's not going to work for girls because it's too political. So I use those with Syteria. I mean, I think we got banned from one radio station for a song I called New World Order. I don't think they like the lyrics in it. So we're talking about corporations. Yeah. New World Order, because it's about corporations. Things, like Codex Alimentarius and Agenda 21 and Bilderberg and false flags, stuff like that in there.
Okay, you're into all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that was when I played with a punk band called Blitzkrieg. I don't know if you know them.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, when I was still in Girlschool, but back in I think it was about 2010, and I wrote New World Order then for Blitzkrieg. So we did it with Blitzkrieg, and they actually re-recorded a version just recently. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not quite as heavily political now when I'm writing lyrics. I just kind of write what's going on in my head. But right now, it kind of lends itself, doesn't it, with what's going on?
Oh, hell yeah. Plenty of content at the moment, man. Bloody hell. I mean, there has been for a few years, isn't there? I mean, now more than ever, really, I suppose, with, what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and, the censorship and propaganda that's happening on our side of the fence as well. But, I mean, prior to that, I mean, the past 2 years have been mental with the pandemics and the protests. And before that, we had the Brexit bullshit and Boris Johnson and Trump. And I mean, it's just an endless treasure trove of material.
You couldn't make this up, could you, really? I mean, it's mad. Yes, I mean, I got called a prophetess of doom at one point because like a year before things happened, I'd written a song about it and then it came true.
Really?
So they're all saying, stop writing.
It's your fault. Stop bloody predicting this stuff.
I know when I was writing Reflection, I mean, Reflection was all about being at home and reflecting on your life and, taking time out of your busy life. And then COVID happened. Reflection came out 21st of February. Look what happened.
Oh, shit, Jax.
I know.
Jesus
it's me.
Christ.
My fault.
You got this mad, since you've been doing all this really hardcore meditation, you've tapped into some kind of universal law of attraction or
This
something.
Is it, yeah.
And you are now.
It's happened about 3 or 4 times now. They're all looking at me like, "Oh my God, stop writing."
Yeah.
But actually, I've got a new song. I'll write some nice, happy new songs now, and then it won't be so bad.
I was going to say, yeah, I think do us a favor now, man. Write some songs about peace, love, and harmony, and free heating.
Yeah, free heating. Yeah, let's go back to Tesla days.
Yeah,
Tesla's original plan.
That's awesome, like that you're into that stuff. So you mentioned like the Bilderberg and stuff like that, because I was well into that stuff for a long time. All of the stuff I write is political. I'm very much, sort of from a punk background as well. So my album that came out in the pandemic, my solo album, was called Make Anger Great Again. And
that's a great title of it.
Well, it actually turned out to be my death blow to the record, because it was a month before the Trump's election. So YouTube took the video down. Facebook wouldn't let me promote it or post anything about it. We were in a pandemic, so I couldn't perform. None of the magazines were like covering anything, because they didn't have any money coming in. So it was all legacy stuff. So just like very much similar to what you were saying with the kind of predictive nature of it. I was like, it was written before the pandemic about, Trump and Brexit and stuff. I was like, we should be rising up and doing something about this stuff. And then fast forward 6 months later, and the whole fucking world is like rioting and stuff. It was like, shit,
no. Well, I wrote one sort of middle of to end of last year called "Pause for Peace." that's the single we're just recording now, and it's just ironic that just happens to be happening now. Like pause for peace, and every time I turn the television off, they're all on the news. They're all saying "Pause for peace." I'm going, "Oh no,
wow,
I've done it again."
That's so interesting. That's happened so many times with you now. That's quite uncanny, isn't it?
A few. It's going to happen a few, so I'm definitely going to have to start writing some nice, cheerful songs.
Yeah, man, bloody hell. I hope I'm not going to be tarnished by some kind of evil energy or something now, since chatting to you.
Not evil. We're not putting anything out in the universe that's evil. No. It's all meditation makes it positive. We all try and get the positive vibes that way.
Well, I tell you what, if this chat says anything to anyone, I think it's that we all need to definitely follow your lead on the meditation. I mean, you've certainly convinced me to get back on it and give it another go.
I mean, it's just good. It's just something to be nice to yourself, isn't it? It's just one of those things. If you're kind to yourself, nice to yourself. Imagine if everybody was doing that. Everybody would be nice to each other then. If you're nice to yourself, you'd be nice to each other, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I totally. I think there's so much to it. Like I said, I was into it for a while, but I fell out of the habit. Same with exercise and eating well and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of this self-perpetuating habits, aren't they? And but for me, so is the opposite. Like so is drinking and getting up late and eating pizza and stuff like that. So to try and break the cycle.
Absolutely. Even if you just do it 5 minutes a day, people always say they haven't got time. But you could stand up and do it while you're boiling the kettle. Just take a minute out and just think some positive thoughts, or have some nice, kind thoughts about yourself or the world, putting that positive vibe in. Because that new song I wrote was a song called Pause for Peace, but it was about Silent Minute. Do you remember the Silent Minute?
Yes. In
the World War?
Yeah.
In the Second World War, what's he called? Wellesley Tudor Paul, something like that. Major Wellesley or Wellesley Tudor Paul, I forget his proper name. But he went to the Prime Minister, Churchill, and said, look, we need to put some positive energy into the atmosphere to stop this war. So at 9 o'clock every night, Churchill agreed and the government agreed, let's try it. So 9 o'clock, this was, I think, it was 1938, something like that. They all went out on the streets at 9 o'clock and Big Ben rang 9 times, and everybody was fell silent, heads bowed, either in prayer, in meditation, in contemplation, and the atmosphere was just really powerful. And at the end of the war, they captured this a German high up in the German army, and he said, you had a weapon which we had no chance of beating, and that was the meditation.
That's incredible.
1 minute every night, yeah.
That's
a true
incredible
story. Like, you can look that up on YouTube. So that's what the song's about, the Pause for Peace. It's like, I think we should do that again. If everybody did it, imagine everybody did it. It would be amazing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Have you thought about doing, I mean, now that you've got smartphone and all that sort of stuff and you're joining social media, have you thought about maybe using, Instagram or Facebook or something as a way to share some of your meditative practices with people?
I should do. Yeah, I mean, I do talk to a lot of people about it because people ask me about it. But yeah, I think that if everybody could do this just for 1 minute a day, it would be amazing. I mean, it's like an atmosphere. When you walk into a room and somebody's had an argument, you can feel the atmosphere, can't you?
Yeah.
So the opposite is the same, isn't it? If you put good feelings and good vibrations into the atmosphere, then the opposite will be the same. Opposite will be, it will be a nice atmosphere. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And what was remind us what the practices that you do again? What's it called?
It's called Raj Yoga, Raj Yoga. So it's the Brahma Kumaris from India. Brahma Kumaris.
Raj Yoga. Right. I tell you what, I've got so much studied. I had no idea the conversation was going to go this way. I thought we were going to be talking about, drinking whiskey and guitar pedals and stuff like that. And this whole tour
Been there, done that. That's so 1990s.
I was resisting asking you, what's your craziest tour story, man? And tell me about Lemmy, but...
The problem is you can't remember them. That's the problem. People ask me sometimes about some of the memories I have and then I think, oh my God, because half the time I was so drunk I can't remember. People were telling me the day after what I'd done. A few, but they've all been told now.
Yeah, sure sign of a good night, so you can't remember it, so that's good.
Yeah. And then the next day was just a washout, isn't it? So yeah, what's the point?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. No, this is awesome, man, because after speaking to you the other day, I've actually got some super interesting homework to do. I've got to go and check out this meditation and, go listen to those songs we were talking about. It's super interesting, man. So before I let you go, because I've been chewing your ear off for an hour now, and I know you're busy with everything you're juggling. So before I let you go, I just want to ask, is there anything you want to tell people about what's coming up that's happening that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, Syteria are releasing a single in May. Look out for that. Girlschool are going back out on tour this year with Alcatraz in Europe. And look out for us at festivals as well. And we'll be releasing an album next year, if we get on with it and right.
Awesome. So there's loads happening as per usual, which I know is going to be literally music to everyone's ears.
It'll all be on social media, obviously.
On the evil social media.
Yes, we won't be posted. Well, I probably will share it, but it'll probably be posted by somebody else. Record company management. We just share. That's easy. Share.
Yeah. I need to get on top of my game. I'm literally going to end this conversation and go and try and replicate your lifestyle. I'm going to find someone to do my social media for me. I'm going to start doing yoga and I'm going to stop drinking Jack Daniels.
Join a band or you start a band with young people in. They can all do it. In Syteria, they're all tech geniuses. All three of them are tech geniuses. They all work in IT and everything, so they're brilliant at it. So it means I can just go share.
Dude, you were doing it right, man. You were doing it right. You've got it figured out, honestly. Yeah.
The universe told me.
So on that note then, just to finish up, what has, with everything you've done in life, with this amazing career you've had now spanning several decades, and you've seen the world, you've found success, you've had a creative outlet, I'm sure you've had lots of ups and downs and, struggles and obstacles, as well as the massive highs and successes that you've had. As you look back now at this point in your life, has a life in rock and roll and a life in a band informed anything about your sort of philosophy on life? Has it taught you anything about yourself or about life?
Yeah, life's too short. It's like all these people I've seen come and go, lots of people have died before they've hit 50. It's like trying to live this rock and roll lifestyle that everybody expects you to be living, and yet you've ended up not living, or wasted your time or missed opportunities. I think I don't regret anything I've ever done. I think everything you do leads you to be the person you are. So everything in life is worth it for learning from yourself. I think you can learn every single day. You can learn something new about yourself every day. So it's just to keep your eyes open and look out for those opportunities and just enjoy them. Don't do anything that you feel is not what you should be doing, not against what you believe in, or don't be pressured by anybody. Just enjoy life and do your thing and do it your way.
Beautiful. I love it. Brilliant lessons for everyone to live by. Spoken from the wise mind of our meditative guru and ass-kicking rock star. Jax, it's been an absolute honor to speak with you. Thanks so much for your time.
You too, James.
I've really enjoyed it, and I hope it was, different from some of the usual questions you get asked.
Totally different. That definitely took a different turn, didn't it? I put you some stuff in the chat as well.
Oh, great. Thanks, man. Yeah, for my homework.
Yep, there you go. Homework for you.
Thanks so much. And I'll share that with everybody in the link and everything as well. We'll try and get some more people meditating.
Yes, let's do it. Let's change the world 1 minute of meditation at a time.
Boom. I can't think of a more perfect note to end on. Jax, it's been an absolute honor. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I had no idea it was going to go this way. I feel like we could probably talk for hours, but I'll let you go.
No worries. Thank you, James.
Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck with the tour and everything you guys have got coming
up. You too. Lovely.
And thanks for all of the awesome music over the years and the decades that you guys have put into fighting for the rock and roll cause. We salute you. Here's to many more, and long may you guys continue to reign, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Will do.
No, I can't wait. Thanks again, Jack. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
How fucking awesome was that? Man, I didn't see the conversation going that way at all. My mind is blown. Yeah, she's really made me think now about getting back on the meditation and starting to look after myself a little bit more, you know? What a seriously cool dude. Check out girlschool.co.uk. Get out and see the band on the road. They've got plenty of gigs coming up. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Obviously, there's loads more where that came from. And we're going to make sure we get Jax back on as well, for sure. More awesome guests coming up next week. Please do subscribe to the podcast because I say this every week. I need to get those numbers up. So click the follow button, the subscribe button, click like, share, dislike, just engage with the fucking thing. Leave some comments, leave your opinions. And I'll see you guys next week. Have an awesome one and get meditating, you fuckers.